Back down here, it's Friday morning now, barely. Um, but I had I went out, I found a zucchini again, saw a nice sunset, got home, ended up making a pork chop that I brought down yesterday. And I'll have the zucchini sometime later. But mainly wasted, several hours, about 3 hours. Seems started reading rules to the next game, but they're not very hefty. Anyway, what we have not done, if I recall correctly, is where are we? How did we get here? Well, it's kind of hard to explain in an 18xx game, to be honest, but we're in a pretty impressive position right now, where everything's just sort of breaking. We got through what is kind of commonly the 18xx starting situation. I looked over some of the comments on this. First of all, it's got very high reviews for, sure, it's a small sample size, but people seem to really like it, more than I do, I think. Some of them note the 1841 connection. Apparently, companies can own other corporations in that. I played it, I don't remember it that far back. But here it's kind of a way of trying to dig your way out of a hole. I thought I had remembered being able to hold other corporation stocks. I don't know if you could actually own another corporation, like the CEO's share. But it does create an influx, a massive amount of income for the corporations themselves. I guess we're at the beginning of the priority auction, huh? Because we already got things started. There is some money out there. Not a whole hell of a lot. It's $150 here. That's not enough to start a company. But he's set up so that, I don't know, maybe. There is... Did we move the stock values up? I assume we did. I'm just surprised that blue is so low. Like, did we shift up? I'm gonna peek at my video and see if we did, because these seem wrong. Easily see making the mistake because it happens at a weird point. Like much of it, the sequence of play is mixed up a little bit from your normal XX. Move the stock values up. Blue has one of their own shares, so they did not go up. I did it all right. All right, so now we're on the priority auction. Is there anything anybody, and I'm going to assess with each player, really feels a need to do? Is there a share out there that's terribly valuable? Blue doesn't have a train, but they have money. Enough to buy one. They'll be in an okay position, but they're going to have just a single train. Is there anything exciting? Well, red has 2 green trains. But 2 green trains isn't all that exciting, because chances are by the time they get to go, all of these companies are going to go. We're going to have hit a gray train, I think, by that point, which is interesting. Now, blue unfortunately has to buy a damn brown train, which goes away when we hit the blacks. Nasty. This is a possible time to fuck with stock values. If I sell a share of that, that still puts me in the first place position and I can't get out of it. So I'm stuck buying a train to begin with. Okay, so there goes that idea. Is there a company? There's no corporation I want to buy, I don't see anything that is particularly enticing to anyone. This guy needs to buy his own shares. Someone else could take his company away from this. What does that do? Well, it doesn't have a shit ton of money. It does have shares, but I don't know that it's a terribly interesting thing. Over here, the second company, okay, this company has a permanent train on it. Well, not a permanent. It has a train that will last this turn on it. It has two trains. Actually, the black company is interesting. People might want to buy shares of that. They might want to take it. Is it worth a bid? I don't know. Most interesting question reflecting that is if we look at other players. So Red has 160 bucks on their company. I am probably going to need 440. 160, 280, 390. I don't have the money. I could shuffle this around, but that's not going to help me. So I'm not interested in trying to grab the black company. This guy, I have 440 bucks here. That's enough to buy a train. Over here, I have 200, about 300 bucks. That's not enough. Like, I'm seeing real problems. And it may come down that it's important to be the person running. Like, it may be of value to grab that blue company's share because that'll generate a little bit of extra income. Who has the money for it? It's 120 bucks. Only this guy and the blue player. Both of which are, well, the blue player is interested in putting cash in his company. He doesn't really care all that much, but it might be the best company to buy all the same. It's, he's not going to bid on it, because if anybody else buys it, I just buy something else, and that's fine. Oh, actually, I don't want to buy it because I will get hit with tax, which happens here. So I actually don't want to buy it, but I may have to. Ouch, I forgot about the tax. But he may well want to buy it to get a run in before he sells things. I don't know that anybody really wants to put a bid in. All right. Priorities just flipped as they usually do. 1, 4, 2, 3, whatever. But now we have CEO money, which I again forgot to calculate in. This actually gives him enough money to buy 2 shares of the black company, if he wants them. Excuse me. The interesting thing is that company is owned by the yellow company. Well, if I buy 2 shares of it, I get control of it. But that may not be a terrible thing. Okay. This guy. This guy gets 10 bucks for his white company, and the white company gets 10 bucks for being CEO of the gray company. And similarly over here, we have cash going here and cash going there because he has the black company. and then over here, just 10 bucks into there. Nobody's at the red. So now we go down to the stock phase, and player one is blue. A lot of money. If I buy this, I'm going to be paying tax on it, which is kind of a preposterously large amount. It's 20 bucks. I don't know if the company's worth 20 bucks. Like, I don't think it doesn't make a 20-buck run over everything else. That's for sure. I don't know if it makes a 20-buck run, which is kind of painful. I think I can afford to pass, but I don't know that I want to do that. Was there some reason I don't want to buy the black company? I can't think of... Yeah, so the reason I don't want to buy the black company is I would not have enough money for my blue company, but I could always sell the black company and dump its price. So, 80 bucks. And that just comes from here. And what the hell? All right. And not that priority works like it does in like 1830, so I don't really have to worry about making early purchases. Over here, I have butt kiss for money. The white company is not in great shape, and it owns the gray company. They're each worth 110. I'm going to generate 220 bucks, dropping this way down. That gets me some more cash in hand, and I'm offering both of these up at this point, but I'm going to need to buy a gray share to put some more money in there. Oh, I'll make change. Not incredibly appealing. It's going to die very soon. I have some cash. Not a hell of a lot. I have 110. I could not buy a blue. What is out there that I could buy? I could buy my own yellow for 100 bucks. That would probably be best, because I'm putting more money into there, and I don't think anybody else will do it. Yes, these are gonna, I can sell these on another turn, but that's okay. Then we go up here, and what's his situation? Well, his situation is he wants that blue share for 120, because it'll make money, and I gotta make change again. Back around, I see no reason not to buy the black company. I get my second share of it. There goes this. I put this here, and we're going to move it over. I need to get more money into my companies. Grays are 110 each. We have taken control of this as well, which makes me directly responsible, but I got enough problems. And it also takes away the capability to steal both of these, although I don't know, I don't see any great advantage to that. Well, now he's sitting on a black share that maybe isn't the best thing. He's got his yellow shares here. I would rather be owning them. I'm going to sell a black share for 80. That doesn't give me much money. Maybe I don't sell it. I'm going to sell a red share, which is also not going to do too well, for 90 into the bank. And I make that 100 to buy one of these yellows and get more cash. I mean, I'm going to have to buy a train. It's going to come out of my savings. And, yeah. I don't know what to do with that black share. It's not really hurting anything to be in my hands. It hurt things by already putting cash into the company, is basically what happened. It goes up to red. Red has almost no money. I have a blue share that I want. I could sell off red shares. What's my current value with this thing? 160 bucks. 280. This is not a bad share. It might be worth more than that. 370. They're probably gonna, I don't know, they might go down in value. So, because they'll be able to run. So 370. I'm going to have to pay something. Is there anything I can grab? There is. There's a yellow share here that'll run before me. But it might swallow. Because right now, that is the third company to go. Blue has to buy a train. I could buy the black train. Blue has to buy a train. And that it could buy the black train before the black train runs, which means I could buy another turn, a turn's worth of stuff, and avoid taking the brown train. That I don't really want two brown trains. Or I could likewise buy the brown train and avoid having to buy the other brown train. Okay, so I don't think blue's going to buy a train. Trying to think about red here. I don't think blue's going to buy a train. The next company after blue is actually gray. Gray is going to buy a train. It doesn't have anything available to it. I mean, sure, somebody else might sell them a green train or something because they're not going to get a chance. I might do it, but we're going to count on them buying a train unless I help them out, like with a green train for $1. Okay, so that's one brown train gone. Then we hit yellow. Yellow does not have a lot of money. They have 200, call it 300 at that point, $400. That's not enough to buy this. And you can't swallow before buying a train. Black and yellow will not have gone before yellow. So I don't think they're buying a train. That puts it on white. White is going to be forced to buy a train. And this train will have run, so it will have to buy the gray train. So I am going to be screwed into having to buy a gray train. What does that mean? It means that it's worth me buying shares of other things that go before me. And both yellow and gray go before me. Yellow, I don't know, is going to buy a train. I'm going to sell both of these for 160 bucks. Does that work? Hold on. Like, I don't want to sell a share if I can't use it. So black is going to run. So at least there's that. So I can buy a black train. Yeah. But unfortunately, so if I'm selling for 160, 80 can go there, 90 could buy a white train. White is going to go before me. Yeah, I think I sell. I get $160. The white one is important to me. The white one's important. There is white available out there. That's $90, but there's two of them. The black one, there's only one available. That's worth $80. That's the one I'm going to spend on. And we hope we did things right as we pick up this. Come back around to here, no money. I've got the CEO of the black company and think that I'm going to be able to do something cool with it. Coming over to here, $35. I could sell a gray share because that doesn't put me below anymore. I couldn't sell both of them. I bought a gray. Is there a reason that I don't want gray? I mean, gray is going to lose stock value. That's the reason I don't want gray. What's available? White, which I sold, so I can't buy that. Reds, I'll just stick. I don't know. Over here. Well, I'm not really interested in black shares anymore. There's two trains. I don't know. What happens if I sell a black share? I think I've already sold a red share, so I can't buy that. So there's really nothing I can buy, so I pass. I really need little markers to remind me whose shares I sold. That's a common problem in 18xx for me. It really would be helpful to have like something. Nobody's looking into these. What's going on? Well, the trains are, there's enough trains coming out, right? This guy, he can't buy red. Is there some reason he'd want white? I think we had decided there was. 75, 85, $90 gets me a white share. Because it will also run before me. And I think anything that runs before me is going to make money. It's not guaranteed. Well, the least likely to make money is actually the black company out of everything. But that runs after me. So I'm just buying that because it was the thing I could afford. I think we all pass at this point. Which puts us down to time to start the companies. And the first one is time to cut my battery. It has to work real hard to figure out what they want can do. I don't want two of these brown trains. I got to make sure I don't have two of them. The green trains are going to disappear. Black might get a run out of one. Blue might get a run out of one. Gray trains are the best deal I can get. So that's what I'd like to aim for. My best chance of getting a gray train is, I think, for black. But let's take a look. Blue doesn't buy a train. Yellow doesn't buy a train. White has to buy the brown train. Probably doesn't have money to buy more than one train. Oh, wait, we forgot gray. Blue, gray has to buy a train. They buy the brown train. Yellow has to buy the gray train because this will have run. Which means the greens are not going to get another run. Which to me means my best move is to buy the green train for very little money on the blue company. As little as I possibly can. I still have this deficit here, but That's okay. No reason to sell shares yet. Unless I just want more cash. Like, is red gonna run? Yes. Well, they might swallow, but I don't think we get to them. I think we got to the gray trains before that. And white is gonna have a train, so it is gonna run. So I might as well hold both of these. Are they gonna pay out? I don't know. Somebody is gonna be buying a fucking brown train that I don't want. So blue's track is now running, or blue is running a 3 train somewhere. These don't hook up. They don't go the right way. You can hit them both in this game. I don't think I can hook them up right now, which means blue might want an ooh-ooh here and hit a triple ooh-ooh with that 3 train. What's going to happen? The only ooh-ooh that's available... Oh, wait. What? The only ooh-ooh that's available looks like it's going this way. Actually, I think I can. That's excellent. That's exactly the piece I want. It's really hard to evaluate these tracks. The ooh-oohs especially are really kind of messy, but some of these others are kind of weird too. For 10, 20 bucks, I can drop a dot. Which dot do I want? Well, I want to hit places that have dots in them already. So we'll put this in. We'll pay that. We have no specialties. And we calculate our run, which is going to be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 120, 130. Do I pay out? That's pretty good money for a single blue train. And if I can get up here, cool stuff happens. I'm sold out. But right now, okay, first of all, I have 2 shares that's worth, say, a couple $100, 500. I'm going to pay out. That puts us to I could buy a share. I have cash. What happens if I take over the red company? I could grab the red company or the white company. Both look troubled. Or I could buy a share of the yellow company. Or the gray company. The gray company is going to run, I think. I can't guarantee it. Because they're going to get a stupid fucking brown train. I think I just hold. We're on the gray company. Now, the gray company has no train. It has to buy a 4 train for 290 bucks. I might as well leave these shares here because I can't buy something else. I can move these down to indicate that they've run already. That's important if somebody else buys them, I guess. The gray company has just bought itself a 4 train. Now, actually, the order is different. I get to play track first, but I want to know my train. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That doesn't get me here. That sucks. No ooh-ooh is going to connect these two right away. I was hoping to get this extra 10 bucks. I don't think it's worth it, which means upgrading this to brown is probably my best move. And I could actually put a token there. It's going to be an expensive token. Actually, if I did put the token there, I could do something different. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 30 instead of 20 there. Yeah, let's buy that token. So that's 10, 20, 30 bucks for the token. Tunneling the token somewhere else might be worth it if I had the card that did that. Instead, I have one that lets me buy a share. There's no purple company, so screw that. So my run will be 50, 100, 130. He's run 4. 160. This is the gray company. I have no cash, but I'm going to make 32 per. I get the vast majority of this I'm going to pay out. I get all of it because the extra share is there. Bucks I have left is not enough to buy a company charter with, a stock value of any kind. 80 is the least for buying one of these. I don't know that I'd want to do that, and none of these are below 80. Now the big question is, can yellow afford 440? They have a decent amount of money on board. I don't know if it's enough. And you gotta have it before you buy before you run the train, which is different. So I've got 180, 380, 400. I do not have the cash. And I can't take it into my pocket. That probably means I'll be buying a fucking black train. That's not cool, but whatever. That means I'm running my 3 train, and with a serious money issue. Of course, he ignored his money issue and built himself a dot. Why can't I? There is a good dot right here, to be honest. Is it that important? I don't know. I don't know if it's that good. I can kind of get there anyway. So if I'm running a 3 train, this is pretty much my run, so I want to upgrade that. Oh, but I could put a gray tile in. Now, the boost is not particularly high. Does that gain me anything? That's an interesting question. Because right now I'm running a 3 train. I'm running at 1, 2, 3, honestly, and I can't even hit that. So upgrading this would be very interesting. Neither of the gray tracks upgrade me to where I can connect one city to the other directly, which is what I was hoping for. Would upgrading this do me any good? I don't think so. Not without playing a dot, and I don't want to play a dot. I think a shitty run of 40, 50, 60, 70, 100. Now, I get most of that money. It sucks when you're holding so many shares of things. I think I pocket it. I think I pay out the run. Something I haven't really been taking into consideration, which is the possibility of merging. Black and blue can actually merge at this point, I believe. There's a blue track here, takes me down to the black. So if I don't want to buy a permanent train on each, I don't necessarily have to. But I got to make the decision at the end of this turn whether or not, how much I can afford. I think I'm set up okay to run two companies, and I think it's to my advantage to run two companies. Although two permanent trains on one big company with half shares, I mean, it's hard to judge, right? Like I said, I think the mergers are mainly for saving your companies, but maybe there's a way to make more money off of combining them together and having two trains. I'm really not sure about that. What about white and gray? It's possible white is going to have to buy a permanent train. It might save gray from having to buy two. They are actually adjoining, so there would be no problem whatsoever to combining them. Of which it is white's turn. We have no train. 250, 260, 270 bucks. I have to sell these. 380. 500 bucks. That allows me to buy a gray train. No problem. In fact, with 60 bucks extra, but I have to sell both of these. Okay. So 110 for this, and it doesn't go anywhere. A total of 230 between the two. If I want one. I have this as well. Whatever it's worth. I could jump by a share. 440 bucks leaves me with 60 after I buy a train. I haven't built my track. I haven't bought my token yet. But I have my train. That kills the green trains. They're not available yet, but they will be once the blacks are done. That's kind of a cheap second train for companies that can use it. This is looking pretty iffy. I think we're going to see two mergers. Okay. Like, it looked good to me at one point, but now it's like, yeah, I don't have the money for two permanent trains. On those, browns go away, you fool. Okay. So now I'm running a 6 train off white and gray. Well, off white. That's 6 train. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not bad. I got the money for a token here, and it doesn't cost, well, I don't need money. It doesn't cost me a damn thing, and I'm going to be getting a free token back. I'm going to just place this here. Doesn't cost me because these guys aren't in the same city, and they're not one stop away. Nothing's one stop away, so that's kind of sweet. I'm expanding into new territory and getting the advantage of that. So now, track, what am I running? I told you what I was running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. Like, do I want the ooh or do I want an equal bonus to this other thing? I think I want the ooh because I pretty much have to run through that. And 50 is 100. 130. 170. 190. 210. 21 a share. Gets me a good way towards this. But I don't need it. 21 a share. This is on the White Company. That is not 3 times, is it? No, not quite. So I only go forward 1. That feels too extreme, having to hit the 3 times. Do we want to pay that out? You know what? I got 1 share of this shit. I think this is swallow time for White. 210 bucks is a pretty good amount of money. No shares between my 2 corporations. I'm sorry. No, I do have shares there. Okay. Well, that may be enough to buy the big black train. So then I'll have 2 decent trains, basically a diesel and a 6. That's pretty fucking awesome. Now, granted, my shares suck. I only have 3 shares right now. It'll go up to 6. No, it'll stay 3 shares. They'll just be 10% shares. How about that? These are definitely running down. I got 2 of them charging. I don't have another way to charge right now. I got 1 sitting there. None of my other cameras will charge. That's going to put it on red. Red has no train. Red has problems, and we knew this. 175, 185 and change. Uh, 185, 200, 315, 395. I'm not going to have a lot of money. I got to sell both these shares, and then we'll see what I have to chip in share-wise here. Pretty close. Now remember, I get to lay track and I get to lay a dot beforehand, so I can pay cash out of pocket for the dot essentially. 375, 395 and change. 395. I need, sounds like 45 bucks. I don't have it. Black has not run yet, so I don't want to sell that. White has a permanent train and looks interesting. It's going to join, but I don't really know that. I can't sell my red. Blue has no train and not a shit ton of money. You know, blue looks the least interesting of the pile to me. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's another 120 bucks in my pocket. I'll be paying 440. We have it between us, and we have excess because that blue train was good. That's going to give us a 6 train. The 6 train looks like it wants to come here. 1, 2, but then things get icky. 3, 4, 5, 6. That may be my best run. Another alternative would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me look at the valuations of each of those. This damn thing, I could run up this way. Fortunately, I did my calculations without the track lay, and this track lay changes things. It's the only one I can play in MySpace. It changes things a little bit. It actually makes it possible for me to come up and into there, which was the thing I was looking at and saying, that's kind of cool. So I'm going to have to recalculate, but I think I'm going to just play that. I also may be dropping a dot. So that'll run at 220. Now, that's a lot of money. I could swallow that. Right now, my corporation has no way to make money. I can make it 230. Let's buy this. That's going to cost me 10, 20, 30 bucks. I haven't bought the train yet. But I'll take out of my own pocket. I don't know. It doesn't matter. 230 still doesn't quite get me up to there. It's close. I mean, paying out does me no good whatsoever. Like, I have almost no shares. Maybe I can do something funky. Like, 46 bucks isn't going to make a difference. So I am going to swallow, I think. But let me buy my train and pick it up. This is the situation I'm in. With a permanent train, not really holding shares. Like, my company is easily taken from me. I have no money. I think I'm just screwed, no matter what happens. But whatever. At least I have enough money I can try to float another company and do stuff that way. And in fact, after I swallow, I could start another company. But I don't have much cash. I do have some shares I could dump. Yeah, I don't know. Because red isn't gonna... Like, I don't think I have the cash on hand. So I float the company with a 20% share. I don't care. It's purple, green. Neither one really matters. Neither one's on the board in any particular way. I can't merge them because it hasn't run yet. And then I'm holding that other company for 20% in here, which would help somebody else float that. Or I'm holding this with a 20% share. And I just don't know. I think I'm just screwed and somebody's going to steal my companies and life is going to suck. That's what you get for buying 2-3 trains, isn't it? All right. We got one more company. The Black Company. We're all healthy. We're going to merge. If we had enough money, we would buy the first 5 train. But we don't have that kind of money. Track light to put this thing in play, which is important. There are no more gray ooh-oohs. That's a big deal. And we do reach that track. That's important too. We're going to spend 1020 and into here to put a black token here. Because remember, we're merging. And that lets us run 1, 2, 3, 4. So 60, 100, 130. Can't quite get where we want to, but 170. You don't want to swallow. So I will pay 17, which is 34 shares. Merger time. I'm not sure what the order of this is. I'm assuming player order, but maybe something else. It doesn't really matter. It should give an ordering. It doesn't. I'm going to do it in player order. So, blue and black, which do we want to make the primary? There's not much difference. Nobody is sitting on the blue or black card, so it really kind of doesn't matter. So we're going to make blue the more important of the two, for whatever that makes a difference of. All this money goes in, the train goes in, the stocks go in, and we figure out the valuation. And that valuation, this happens before you raise the value of stocks, I think. I gotta find that. When do stock values go up? Because all the black shares are in people's hands, all the blue shares are not. End of game round, it doesn't say that step here, unfortunately. So all of our shares shift to 10% shares in both companies. There kind of is no CEO anymore. So these just accumulate under blue. We look, there's a black, there's a black, there's a black, and unfortunately here's a couple of blues, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. Luckily they're similar color, and these are similar color. That'll help a little bit, maybe. So that's theirs, and we figure out their valuation, which is 110, 200 divided by 2. The blue token goes down to 100, and the black one, I'll put it here. I don't know. Then this guy gets to do his merger, and he also wants to do a merger. We have white and gray. The gray station permit. Oh, fuck. All right. You know what I've been forgetting? Paying money to adjacent stations. The money that I've been paying for tokens, I have not been putting it in. This game is brutal in terms of the number of little different things, and this one is a serious different thing. It may have existed in I'm pretty sure it existed in the Mars game as well, 22 Mars or whatever, but oops, playing this game correctly is really a fucking pain. Like, if it's your first XX, maybe it's easier, but there's just so many expectations that, like, of what goes to the bank and what doesn't and stuff like that, that no longer hold, that it's really painful. I'm going to ignore it and just try to be correct going forward, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I could figure out what stations got played this time and who's got a few extra bucks. But, like, if Red has extra bucks, which they certainly do, most of those will be in his pocket instead of in the company treasury. So let me try to figure out what got played and what didn't. This one got played, that didn't do anything special. This one just got played. That should give 10 bucks to blue and red. And that's no big deal at all. That's just happened. It's no problem. I don't know about the gray and white. Did I play them both this turn? I think so. And I almost certainly did not give the money out. That's 10 bucks in blue's pocket and 10 bucks in the red player's pocket, because that would have happened before. The gray also happened that way, where it would be 10 more bucks in blue's pocket and 10 bucks in the red player's pocket. Yellow did not just come out. Red just played this one, which you don't pay for your own. I may have paid for my own. I don't know if I did or not. I think I did. I'm going to give 10 more bucks to Red for that, because I'm pretty sure he paid for his own thing there. And I guess that's it. I don't know. But definitely some additional money for these guys. Red and blue. which came into play. And where are we? We were on this merger. We're out row. Okay. Got to make the merger because I'm going to lose this brown train very quickly. I do have enough money for a permanent train on each, but I'd have to do train swapping shit, and I don't think that's a good idea. Yellow has no train and not a shit ton of money. Ruh-roh. Okay. What do we do? What do we do? Do we want to do this merger? It's not as important as the blue-black merger, I think, was. I have a permanent train. I have a fair amount of money. I have $300, another couple hundred. I could afford to keep both companies running with train juggling. I don't think train juggling is a good idea. So, white and gray. There is a gray card out there, so I'm going to make white the principal here. Moves that. One of these comes away. Making this a less valuable space, but also one somebody can token, but who? Good question. Buy me a quick share before anyone else. I could also do that after the bidding is done, so no help there. Really don't think there's anything too exciting other than that. Gray and white is 180. That's going to be a 90. The nearest 90, we'll go to this one instead. Shares flip. I think it's important to kind of cover up that CEO aspect of a share by doing something like that. I have the confusing situation of different sized shares, which I'm kind of used to in something like 1835, but I have trouble dealing with it in some of these in these other games, especially with the little printing and whatnot. Final thing is, let's figure out who's sold out. Yellow is not. Blue is not. White is not. Red is not. So no problems there. We go into the 6th round, and honestly, one of my worries with the game, whose money is this? This is company money that shifted. I'll fix that in a moment. One of my worries in the game had been that it might not be rich enough and long enough. You know, it's showing that it is. I had a lot of trouble with this game early on. First play was a disaster. It's warming on me. It's definitely, there's more going on than I had worries that it was going to be a pretty mellow little thing that didn't really work, that ended up too static. I think it can end up that way. If nobody decides to push the trains and just decides to lose, and maybe that's the best thing. It would have been this guy who lost. I don't know if he's in a great position. He's sitting there waiting on a train to crash on him. It looks better than him, though. Not by much, maybe. I don't know. He's got 4 shares to 3 shares. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't feel like he gained much, and I feel like people who were doing okay were able to save their companies through the mergers that they created, even though he kind of saved his company by taking over someone else's company, this guy's company. The company that this guy used to trigger all this crap. All right, I'm going to clean up that. I'm going to go upstairs because I've got serious battery issues in terms of load. That one's not charging now. White's doing the best, to be honest. A permanent train already, a decent amount of cash, some shares, another train that I can do a swallow if I want to, or pay out, whatever, it doesn't matter. They were in the position where they could hold both their companies, actually, but it would take too much juggling. I feel like he had to do a little bit more magical stuff. So this guy bought a company with his company and then managed to, I don't know why the CEO share was here, managed to get himself into what looks like a pretty decent position with a company that's going to run pretty well. Now, they are 10% shares, whereas this guy's, can he dig himself out of his hole? I don't know. He's going to have to pay a hit. This guy's already paid his hit, but he's left with just a 6 train, some money that can get him a 3 train later, if all the diesels or whatever, the blacks, go away. And that's a big if. All right, we're gonna pause for a while. Around 7 a.m. It's a Friday. I have to get back to sleep. I napped a little bit, but couldn't stay asleep. I don't know. I have these problems. Anyhow, here we are. I'm going to try to play this 6th turn. We're at the beginning where the priority auction happens, and it may be important. Last turn seemed like it would be more important because big things happened. I don't know that anything big is happening here. Nobody, started another corporation in the middle of their corporate turn in the last turn. We still have one problematic corporation here, which, it's funny. I'm so used to I've got a company that's in horrible shape. Let's dump all my shares. That doesn't necessarily make sense in this game. I would love to be able to give it away. It's going to be a liability, but I can't, it's not like it's not going to be a useful company. It's going to be sitting on a diesel. Now then the question becomes, okay, where does my track go? Well, I could run a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 train relatively easily. Look at the wealth that different players have. That doesn't, just to get an idea of floating a company. So this guy's got a decent amount, $145. He can still only buy 1 share, but he could buy a share at 110. If I floated a new company at $110, well, that company, if it sells all 5 of its shares, has 550. So I'd only have to spend $10. But here's the problem. If I started at 110, if nobody else buys it and I sell the 4 other shares to get to that amount here, it's going to 1, 2, 3, 4 go down to here. I'm going to lose $40 a share. I mean, you don't want to do that. There's only 2 operating rounds left, The company's probably not going to make much money. And nobody's sitting on the kind of cash that they can float a company that can start with that extra money. So I think these guys are just not going to start. Now, you can kind of bootstrap yourself with some of this extra money, but that extra money in your companies, like a company could float a share of it, going early, you could buy a share of it, whatever. But nobody's got the kind of cash on hand to really push the company out heavily. And most of the other corporations aren't really all that wealthy in comparison, in the sense that they all need new trains. Every single one of these has space for a second train. So I don't think those are going to float. And if that's the case, are there any shares that are out there that are obviously good? This company is pretty decent. It's probably going to make money while it's holding these extra shares. And there are some in the bank pool, so those are worth buying, but they don't appear all that hard to get to. Like, there's 3 of them, and if somebody really wants, they can buy one of these. So nobody has enough money to buy more than like a share. The blue company might be just as good, although it is going to have to sell some shares to get its next train. There's a couple of theirs floating around. The red company does not look like it's going to be doing well unless the green trains become available. I don't know that they will. Yellow's going to buy a black train. There's a black train here. That's 2 black trains. That's going to kill this. Actually, blue doesn't look all that exciting. Which probably gets a 3rd black train. Then the greens are available. So chances are I think we are going to get to those greens, but I can't guarantee it. But yeah, red has enough for a green. It might be worth a couple of bucks to put a bid in. So I'm going to randomize and see, who wants to put a bid in. I'm going to start with an odd even roll. Odd, they're considering it. Even, they're not. And if they are considering, I'll look at their money. So this guy's got $100. He's probably not going to put a bid in, as there are some shares that are worth $100. But people who have an odd couple bucks, yeah, they'll probably think about it. Actually decided was odd, I would put the whole amount of their excess in, over 5, and then I rolled my way down. So I put the bids on things. This guy is not paying because he only has that $100. This one put a buck in, that gives him a $2 bid. Here a buck gave a $5 bid, but here we got a $7 bid. So now I gotta figure out what's gonna happen. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the issues for this guy, he has $90. He can buy a white share. He wants to do that. His yellow shares, he doesn't need to sell. They're on a ledge. I can hold on to them. They're not going to go down in price. But the black share might go down in price. So the question becomes, do I want to exchange this for something else? That's a good question. Yellow is actually going to go ahead of blue, so this train is not going to run. Blue is, I don't know. Well, it means I won't be swallowing, which is a nice view. But it does mean red and white shares are probably going to get sold. I think I'm just going to buy the white share, even though it is going to get sold and not make as much stock value as I would like. It is going to make good runs in over 2 rounds. With $145 here, I can buy 2 shares as long as they're both red. So that's actually what I'm going to go for. Attention, he doesn't go over 60. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. I also am at that 145. I know that the red share is going to get sold, right? 350, 360. I need to come up with 200 bucks. They're both going to get sold. The red share is not going anywhere, though. I, too, am going to buy a red share, I think. Although, I don't know. If I spend 100, I can get a blue share. Blacks are almost certainly going to get sold. Yellows are almost certainly going to get sold. Yeah. I think the red is worth more. Whites probably are going to get sold. I'm going to go for the red. I don't know that he's buying another red. Although if cash is open, he would. Fortunately for this guy, yellow goes before anything. I got to take a quick look at what I'm going to lose here. 110, I'm fine with this selling. That doesn't matter. The black selling at 100, that's going to put me at 340. I still have to raise 200 bucks. These are both going to sell. The question is, if I sell this black, I get less cash in here, which means it comes out of my ass anyway. So I don't really have a way of protecting myself from that hit. And this became totally useless. There's no green company, and all the tracks became available in a rather fast sort of way. I could reserve a tile. I got to remember that as my option, but that's one that I'm not really capable of remembering. This one is still of interest. The gray is still useful in that, no, it's not useful because gray got superseded by white. I mean, I'm at $1, man. I can't buy that. I think I've got the best holdings I can, so I think I just pass here. Red got scooped up here. That puts me on him. Is red the thing he wants? He could dump a red, it doesn't really matter, for 70 bucks and have enough money for any share that he wants. Red is not getting any cash. These cost 300 bucks each. He would have to swallow to get a second train. I don't think red is my best purchase. So I think I sell my red now and buy something else. Is yellow better than red? You don't know. Like, yellow's going to have a bigger train. It's able to run, like I said, through here. It could actually drop a dot somewhere else and maybe get... Wait a minute. What the hell? Okay. Yellow can run through here. Up this way. I could conceivably get a dot someplace like here, maybe, but that doesn't really help. I don't know. With that big train, actually, my run actually comes down here, up, around, over, down. That's not bad at all. Around. Yellow's looking pretty tasty, actually. So I think I'm going to dump that red at 70 and put another 40 in to get a yellow. Now, I can protect my investment in yellow by selling a blue or black for 100, throw another 10 in and buy this yellow. Now that's going to reduce blue's value, but blue's going to make less money than the yellows are, I'm pretty sure. Blue's got issues. Blue is... yeah, but maybe I don't want to crash. Blue's at 360. I can get to the 560 with those two shares when I have to sell them, which is fine. I don't know, like, I would rather own the yellow share than the blue share, I think. Although blue has pretty good stock too, pretty good run too, with a lot of dots. I'm just going to hold. That's the end of the share round. Is anybody holding too many shares? Not yet. Hopefully never. And so everybody makes $10 income because these have merged. They only make a $10 income now. I forgot. Actually, I'm in the wrong order. That should have happened already. It feels like private money to me. Would it have made a difference? Maybe. I don't want to backtrack. Yeah. And this is going to be consistent. I really think that, like, the sequence of play, if I'm not following it 100%, just tracing down, it's so different from the expectation in little tiny ways that it just consistently causes that grading. And that's the problem I got. It's got all these little changes in addition with a few big ones. The big ones are interesting. The little ones might be necessary. I'm not convinced that they're not. You know, the game works as it is if you can play it right. That's going to put me into the operating rounds, and we open up with yellow, and I get me another pipe. I'd very much like to finish this, including the review, today. And that would be fine, except today's my dancing day, and I'm really worried I'm not going to be able to make it. But if I don't, it means I probably don't play Saturday. And, you know, if I'm either playing one turn so disassociated from, you know, the things that I've learned, or even just doing the review that far back away from playing it, I think is going to be problematic. But I don't know what else I can do. We'll see. If I can push myself, I will, but I do need to get some sleep. Yeller's train, I have to sell both of these because I have too little money by far. So this is $100, and this is 110. So I make 210. That's still not going to be enough, but it gets me in the right range. Close. I don't know, not all that close. So now I'm at 450. I need to come up with another $110 from here. This is exactly 110. But this is 90, brings me to 100, not good enough. 90 brings me to 100. I have to sell one of these, which I do not like doing. And that will get me that train. I'm buying the train first because I know I need the damn train. But I could still buy a dot, which I think I'm going to do. Well, I don't know. It's $10 for that dot. That dot is nice. That dot is important. There's my extra $10. I feel a lot better about what I sold. It's $10 because it joins this. It's not connected to anything at a distance of 1. And then, did I want to reserve a tile? I don't know. I go first. What do I care? I could give myself nothing. Okay. What's absolutely vital is a piece of track that I don't have. Fuck! There are none of these left. I used the 2 of them. Son of a bitch. That changes things. I was counting on that. Give me my $10 back. I can't put that dot down. This sucks that I can't put the dot. I really want that dot. And I mean, I can put a dot here for an extra $10. I'm not going to generate any more money with this company. I don't get to any of this. I get here, which is interesting. I built this. My mind has trouble with this because there's no little circle here. So I don't think, ooh, I can put a town there and that's good. So I'm like thinking, oh, well, what could I put? Well, I can't put anything here. But my first thought was I have to play this track so that I can upgrade to green. So then I am thinking this, but I'm like, this actually helps me more because it makes a simple yellow curve get me in there. I'm not relying on anything, although I do have that reserve a card and I go first and all kind of stuff like that. I mean, I'm not going to get a dot anywhere if I don't play it now. So I'll pay that $10, I guess, and put the dot somewhere. Here I'm at least maybe blocking other people, and I'm running on it. And that's going to get me 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. This is a more expensive dot. I can't afford it. This one's more important to me, I guess. That cost me 10. I'm wondering if this one's more important or that one. You know, nobody's out there. Let's put this one down. No, that would cost me 20 as well. Okay. Okay. So 40, 50, 60, 90, 100, 130, 180, 210, which I can just pay out at 21. That's 42 a share because those are still double shares. Company is blue. We got rid of these. Is there another one? Nope, just 2 of those. Okay. It's listed there. Got to buy a train. I have 360. These are not going to be worth more than 100 each. So 90 for a red. Actually, that goes down. 90 for a red. And 90 for one of these. So that's $180 that I pull in. Now I'm at 535, 540. I don't have any dots left. So I just throw in extra money. But I do get to lay a track. Track is one of those nightmares to look at because, first of all, I've got 2 different colors. But I can come down here. This doesn't look very profitable. But my stupid barrier that I forced down is hurting me because I can't come out this way. But I have this gray track I could put here that could get me through here. I think that looks the most valuable. But it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. So I see myself... See, I was thinking, oh, I could come up here, over, up, around to here, but that gets me back down into where I was. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I can operate. Where did I start? I'm like, when you have a loop like this with a fucking diesel, it's such a pain in the ass. Oh, you know what I forgot? This guy made more money. His end point was either this, which was worth 30, or this, which was worth 60. He actually makes $6 more, which works out to $12 more a share, because the black trains get a double on one of their endpoints. Another one of those little rules I couldn't remember. This is so ugly. I can't run through this city twice. I'm looking at maybe starting here. Fuck. What was it again? Starting here. Down this way. Around, up, over. No, because I need this track and I need that track. Fuck. So this round, I can't do that. So I think I need to make this connection. So I start here, because I'm going to head back down this way out of here. I start here. This is going to be an end point, which is cool. I guess I come through here, up, through these, and down, and that, I think, is the best I can do. I'll count that off camera. Difference, instead of coming down this way, I came this way. It comes out to be 45, including the doubled. That is 3 times. Whee! And these are single shares, though, so they actually only make 45 a share. 45 a share. Blue is looking like a real missed opportunity for everybody who didn't buy one. $45 a share, but double bump. It's a complex question. I can only sell shares at the beginning of my operating turn, but I need to know what my run is, because if these produce, they're not going to produce over $200. All right. That would be $100 a share about. Yeah, we're not going to get that. Not off a little gray train. Okay. So that means we need to sell these. These are whites. They look gray. They're at 80 each. That's 160. That's not going to make it either. I may be stuck with a single train. This is not a great situation. I thought this guy was in good shape, but now it's turning out he's not. Because I don't have quite enough money to buy that big train. I might have it for next time. Red's in the same position. Red was counting on being able to get maybe a green train. And this is me just not being familiar with how this is going to calculate out and play out. Which somehow doesn't bother me. Like, not remembering what the rules are and not being able to plan for them really hits me. Not quite as bad as not remembering and fucking up with them does, but get a little 23 run. which is coming from here up and through. If I spend $10, see, I'm at 80. If I spend $10 and put a token here, that goes up to a 24 run, which gets me triple my 80. And these are 24 a share because they're 10 percenters. Last company is Red. Red clearly does not have enough money to buy that last Black Train. I kind of wish these were available after the first purchase of these. Although that would take a lot of the damage away. Like only one person gets hit by it. So I guess it makes sense. It's just sort of the, we made the technology jump. Let's get the crap out there that's cheap. But everybody would just buy their second train, and some people would get a green train to avoid having to take the penalty. So again, I look at something and I'm like, oh, it could be improved that way. And I'm always shocked with this one, with Jones games, to not really be able to find. This one feels really tight. And there are things like the play order that I'm like, yeah, why did you change this? Yeah, I think there's a reason. I really do. I feel like everything interlocks in such a way that tinkering with shit in this one really wouldn't work very well. The game packs a hell of a punch for how little it is. All right, well, we got Red. I don't know what to do. He's just keeping away from the idea of buying another company. Remember, I was saying, look, well, these guys needed to spend their money. This guy is saving his money. He buys another company, and that's a share that maybe he could sell if he supported it. This guy didn't have cash. He had to buy a train. And you can only buy a share at the end of everything, so he wouldn't have anything. Similarly here, he doesn't have anything. Red could actually buy, White could have done it. Red could actually start another company or buy shares of something. Well, Gray could buy shares of something. Why doesn't Gray buy shares of something? What the fuck? It's a good question. Red has not run yet. They're almost certainly to make money. And for only $60, let's buy one of these. Double share too. Like I'm running a single fucking 6 train on 10% shares. That sucks. I think the changes in this one, all the little changes, are more of a problem solo than they would be opposed. Like if I was playing this opposed with a group of 18xxers, maybe we would each forget things and be upset about the things we forget and not plan for things correctly. But I think we wouldn't actually make as many, if any, errors. Although with only one sequence of play, maybe. Because each person may bring in their own little things that they can't remember out of the series. But yeah, solo it is definitely like, because it's just so many different things that are a little off, a little different. And if I was playing this with like the group that I had recently, it would be problematic because I would be basically running the game, which would just make it even worse than solo, I think. Point don't matter with the Gray Train. This is kind of where I'm looking. I'm looking at building this piece of track, which exists, and I'll free something up. But I'm trying to remember why. Basically, I'm looking at something along the lines of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hitting as many of those gray spaces as I can. Now it means that I can't upgrade a brown, well, a green to a brown, I guess, but I'm not hitting this green, so that doesn't matter. There's no track that I can upgrade, honestly. I guess I could hit a 40 here, maybe instead of something else, but there's a token here, so yeah, it all kind of balances out. It's a 29 run. Again, we're going to pay out for that double boost. What's the problem with red? If I bought a red share and then had to sell it, assuming I could buy the green train with that money, I'm not going to be able to buy the black train, that's for sure. If I buy a red train, well, first of all, I'm going to lose some share value on the red anyway. But I would also possibly dump my red value down. Because it's not going to get another run before it has to buy the train. I think that value is going to get dumped down anyway. But it doesn't really help me to buy... Well, it does help me to buy a red. Because that... No. It wouldn't be sold out because Red Company is owning it. So... What runs before red that makes good money? I say blue and yellow do. Yellow has 20% shares available, so if I can afford a yellow, I want that. Even though blue, I wouldn't be shocked if blue makes 2 stock advances. I don't remember what its run was, but it was big. It was really big. But then again, yellow might as well. I'm going to buy a yellow share. Maybe I make a mistake here. I don't want to calculate it out. And you know, with all these little companies and everything, I was worried it was going to get really cluttered. But with a couple of them not being bought, and I think that might be very likely, it's not that complicated. I'm just running 4 companies because of the mergers and whatnot, which was one of my considerations. All right, is anything sold out? Yellow is not, blue is not, white is not, red is not. Excellent. We're going to push on. Nobody's up here. That's what these little greens mean. Is it possible to get there? Yeah, I guess so. Like, I can see it happening. It might be very hard to do, and it should be. And now we bid on the priorities, and nobody's got taxes, and then they can actually overbuy because there will be no further taxes because there's no further turns. So you can buy whatever shares you want at the end. Let me consider the bids. Companies, players may be interested in how many shares they can buy. So with the company, I wanted to buy the 20% share because I can get that in 1 certificate. That's not as important here. There's no certificate limit. And so I want to just make the most money. So I mean, I think, oh, I'll buy a yellow. Make sure it gets bought, but that's kind of inefficient. That leaves me with like 55 bucks here. White and black are gonna run. White I'm not sure about. They're gonna fuck with their share value. Maybe I want to dump that before anything happens. Black I feel pretty comfortable with. So let's grab my 100 bucks. Oh, I'm not first. I'm trying to decide what my bids are going to be. So I am very interested in it. It's certainly worth $3. Is it worth $8? I think my share decisions are going to be worth the $8. Fortunately, everybody else might be throwing in bigger money too. Doing some kind of randomization, I just threw maximum amount that I will not use on shares. Like, by any stretch of the imagination. So, that gets me to 6 here, 8 here, 9 here, and 10 here. So this is going to be 1 and 2. 3 is down here, and that means this guy wasted $3 entirely, where he's not going to get any priority advantage at all. He came in last. Shit happens. Question is that 20% share of red, which makes pretty good money, worth it? Or, see, I could buy a 10% share of this. I could buy several 10% shares of that, but I'm not going to get the option. So I think it's still worth going for the 20% yellow at 120. I know it's going to lose stock value. Oh, boy. Reds are going to lose stock value. Whites are going to lose stock value. I'm going to buy me, I guess, a blue. It goes last. They're holding a share that they may or may not sell. I don't know if they will. It's going to be worth $130. 230, 240, 250. There's not enough to buy one of these. I can afford to buy my own share. He should have bought it. He was in a better position to know. But, you know what? I do my thinking serially, and this guy going later has more of an idea, more of a clue than that guy does. That's all. Except here's the problem. $120 only leaves me with 50. $170, 150, 160, $170 would allow me to buy 2 reds. There aren't 2 reds out there. I will not be able to buy better. The yellow is the best deal. We're here because, again, there's still not 2 reds out there. Blue, actually a black, but it doesn't make much difference. We're back around to the front. He's got enough money for another share. There are no blues left. Question is, whites, which might make shit tons of money. Time to calculate what he's got. So he's got 280, but he is going to drop some stock value. 280, 580. He's got the money for the big train. That means the big train's going to sell. I think the white share is worth more. Big considerations is this red is going to get sold too, right? Yeah, he's got a shit ton of money. What's he going to sell? He's got to sell them all. Okay. So red is going to go down in value as well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I want the white. Interesting thing I could do with this, no, not him, because he's got the tokens he kind of wants, but is I could put a token someplace where it's free. I don't know where. They're kind of nowhere now. Or very cheap, but free is what's important for some of these companies. Put a token somewhere where it's free, and then use that card to move it so I don't have to pay the cost to place a token when you have no money. Right now things look a little complicated, but I mean, it would be possible to like shoot something off here. Oh no, this isn't connected to anything, so I could put a token there. Over here, nobody's got enough money. I don't think anybody wants to jiggle stuff around too much. $80. It'll still make money, I guess. I don't know. If I lose money off this, I'm going to be pissed. And it's because the turn is so, things are so, there's no tail to this game, is I guess what it comes down to. By which I mean some XX games have most XX games have a period where nothing much happens at the very end of the game. I think stuff still is going to happen on this turn. There's still going to be upgrades. There's still going to be all kind of stuff. There's going to be new trains being bought. So every round has changes happening in terms of what your income is going to be and whatnot. I'm mostly used to games that have a tail. Some of them have a ridiculously long tail to the end of the game. 1870, 2038. These guys, because the way they're constructed, they just run forever and ever and ever. And that's really annoying. I also generally find it a little annoying when there's no tail at all. I kind of like I've had time to build up my big route and make money, but I don't feel like it's that harmful. I think this guy is making really good money with his brilliant plan. Trust me, there wasn't one. But what he ended up with, same with him, he's going to make good money off of getting that black train, even in the short period of time. So it still has an impact even without the tail. So I don't know that it's bad. Usually I feel cheated when a game ends too early without any tail at all, without any chance to pay off that diesel. But you know what? This thing isn't that expensive. It's only $560. Diesels are like $1,100 in 1830. You don't have to make as much money to get your trains. So he's kind of streamlined the late train rush, made it cheap enough that if you can time it and arrange it right, you can still end up winning off of getting a big train and engineering that without the tail being present. It's kind of interesting. Fucking did it again. It's not enough money that it would have made any difference to anyone. The only shares that are kind of available are these. This guy wants to do one of those. So this is $100. I can reduce my penalty here. When we come around to him next, he'll sell this for 110. And put 100 in here for one of these. And those whites may be a hell of a deal. If I'm not dumping the whites, they start becoming much more interesting. So somebody else may dump something to do that. He doesn't want his blues dumped. 80, 90, 100. There goes a red. Oh, fuck. I could buy a blue, but if I buy a blue, somebody's going to dump it. Okay, so I dump a red for 80. And there's 100 in here. I buy this up. That red was going to get hit anyway. Is the blue going to get hit? Well, not now. Unless... See, this is still going to get shot. Nobody can buy that out of there. I owe $40 to buy this. Yes, it helps him more than it helps me. But it's a better share. It's going to make more money. And that means we got a $70 share, which can actually be bought. Okay, so he just went. He gets to go. He has $60. He doesn't want to buy a red in any particular way, so he'll pass. But we get back to him, and he's like, oh, look, something's cheap enough for me to buy. I don't know if he sold red. That's my only problem. Fuck. No, I don't think I did. I don't think I did, because I would have had the debate about dropping my stock value, and I didn't have that thought. So I think that's the end of the stocks. And we're going to be here. I need to charge batteries, brew tea, stuff like that. But yeah, we're going to just try to push through. So now it's just like figure out the best run I can make for the last shot. And this is, you know, the final operating round. Yellow is going to do what it can. Definitely means this track lay. Be a 50 run, which means it's 100 a share, which is sort of a magical place. A 50 share gets me going up twice. Wasn't expecting it, but yeah. Big money is enough. We're going to end up selling, so it doesn't really go up twice, but that's enough that he's going to be able to buy his green train. Be a dick. I'm going to do it late, but I'm going to reserve this tile. Which means it doesn't get played this game. It still leaves one available. I'm fine. I want my little brown that can get me down here. Blue's trying to figure out their run. They're just a crazy mess of spaghetti because they have so many damn tokens. But mainly they have these two. And everything else is kind of open. And they have the diesel train. 57? I don't know. I mean, there might be something better in there, but this is just so messy. That is actually just 57 a share, though. Careful, I had these separated, didn't count it, then realized, yeah, that one does too. Going to have to sell this for 70 in order to get enough to buy the big train. So complicated. I'm trying to optimize the black train, but then I'm like, oh shit, I still have this other stupid 6 train to run too. I tried finding something here, but I'm actually not sure that that's my best move. I think opening this up is my best move. Ground tracks don't work there. That makes life a lot harder. Block here is causing me problems again because I got a token down here that I could do interesting stuff with, maybe. I don't know. I'm really having a hard time finding my strategy card is interesting. That I'm going to use, but I'm having a hard time finding a way to work a 6 train out of this shit and that big diesel thing. Here would help too, but again, there's no sharp cities and there's a limited number of those. Can afford time-wise to spend too much effort on this. So I'm going to go with this. I think this is going to do me some good. Come up with is a 58, but that's good enough to get me this. Again, maybe I could squeeze a little more out. I don't want to think about it too hard. That is 58 a share on white and gray, and gotta do it that way. Making sure. Now, with all this money, I cash this in, and I pay 70 bucks. To grab another share that makes me money. I like that. That was any useful usage. This one may have done some good. I don't know. Red. No reason not to sell this. It's 140 bucks. 150. Put that here. Quick 300 buys us a green train, and now we have a double run to make as well, and that should end things. No reason I need this, because yellow is on open spaces. I could have, it was something in reserve I could have used, but it's not doing me any good. I could relocate a station if that helps me. I wish I could relocate somebody else's station. It's going to be another complicated one because it's 2 trains. That's always more painful to judge, but at least I don't have a fucking diesel to try to run. 43 a share. Well, 430, which will be 86 a share, which gets me here. I didn't need to lay track. There was nothing I could do. I'm running this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this little run. And again, maybe I could have squeezed out a little bit more. I don't see how, though. There are no browns for this. I'm not hitting any cities that I could upgrade. Maybe there was something a little better. I don't know. It's not worth... I mean... I'm hitting this, which is worth 40. That's what I could make this worth. I don't think I could improve my loop. Yeah. What did I say it was? I don't remember. Fuck. 386. With blue-black at the highest stock value, that pile of money beating out anybody else by a little bit, I think we know the story here. But I'll sketch it out and see what the totals are. Oh, one more thing to do. What's sold out, what's not? There are no shares outstanding in companies anymore. So blue is sold out, yellow is not. White is sold out, red is not. And that's going to be a big deal. If we look at the stock prices, it starts to become absolutely obvious. It was a total blowout. A 400-point difference between blue and their second place finisher. Maybe kind of surprisingly red. I thought one of these would be more interesting, but they were clustered a couple $100 below. Interesting. I don't know that I'd feel particularly like that I learned how to, manipulate this one. There's a lot going on in it. And I mean, it was obvious to me blue was winning just by the combination of stock value and the cash they were collecting up off their runs, etc. So, yeah, the mergers, I don't know. This one worked really well. But you know what? He didn't start this company, the black company. That was started over here. And I think that's something that we kind of see, is that the 2 people who started a new company ended up at the bottom of the rung. He managed to get the new company and merge it in. It was advantageous for him. Basically stealing it from somebody who couldn't protect their resources. And honestly, it was the 2 people who didn't start a company who ended up doing well, and the one who managed to steal a startup, a late start, who really got the big advantage off of it. That's kind of the biggest thing I can say about it all, honestly. This was a hugely annoying factor to everyone, honestly, eventually, because the tracks became so spaghetti-like. And that's the thing. There's a lot of dots in this game, and there aren't central cities. So like most XXs, these gray spaces, things like ooze and stuff will collapse into something, or else not be able to keep being upgraded. These are among the best spaces on the game because you can hit two big cities on them if you set things up right. And, you know, I mean, yellow, the big diesels were doing this. You know? Uh, I don't know. All right. We'll send this up and then I'll come to what I kind of a review of it. My big worries are missing from it, except for the one of all these different mechanisms that are like slightly off from what XX usually is. Seem kind of. They definitely put an extra burden on an XX player. And again, I don't know that a non-XX player, although I had at least one person who's, I guess, reticent about playing regular XXs. This one is more than, you know, I mean, compare this to like your 1830 or much, much weaker, the 18GA, 18AL type stuff, the really lightweight XXs. Now, I love my 1830. There's no question about that. To me, that was the refinement Tresham needed to make. And almost everything follows that in many facets. The old 1829 stuff was pretty iffy. It, you know, it caught people's attention and whatnot, but I feel like 1830 was that perfect refinement. And then everything that's come after it, some of them I like more. You know, I'll point to 56 for that. I think 56. Although I don't know, it's hard to tell because, you know, 56 impressed me when there were very few of them out there, and now there's so many that it's like I still remember it and place it at that 10 rating because it did the stuff that I felt kind of 1830 needed to make it even harsher and like, but also a little bit more realistic, things like partial cap, loans, just stuff along those lines. But this has some interesting aspects to it. There's no question about that. The track does become spaghetti track, but there's not a whole hell of a lot of it, which helps. Two trains when you have this kind of spaghetti track is a hell of a mess. At least it's not that stupid angular track that opens up everything. There are very few places where you like look and say, oh my God, this is central, you know, as the map developed. Yeah, I mean, these became really important, but it's more because they were valuable because they have tokens in them. Everything is kind of uniform in a lot of ways. I don't know how I feel about the lack of map. I don't know, you know. It didn't really hurt things. It's not like the XX game has all that much terrain and whatnot on it, and then you have this. This is weird. But you know, it serves the purpose of kind of like the blocking terrain that shows up in a couple of XX games, certainly in 1830. Anyway, my experience was better than I expected after reading the rules or after playing that disastrous first play. I did not think this would catch me. It's working. It's working. I don't know how high. Anyway, I'll come back with a review, load this up,